एनडीटीवी ऑटो शो में आप सबका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। मैं हूं आपकी होस्ट मुग्धा मिश्रा और आज आपके लिए एक बहुत ही एक्साइटिंग शो लेकर आए हैं। सबसे पहले है रॉयल एनफील्ड क्लासिक 650, एक ऐसी बाइक जिसका सबको बेसब्री से इंतजार था। अनिर्बान मित्रा ला रहे हैं इसका फर्स्ट राइड रिव्यू।
How do you define a recipe of success? Let me give you an example. The tried and tested 648 parallel from Royal Enfield in between your legs, and a design that's quintessentially classic, which has been in sync with the market for long. That is the classic 650 in simple terms. But let me break it down. How does it really feel on these twisties? I have ridden it fairly around 100 kilometers in the Ghat sections of Ooty. And here are my observations about this latest Royal Enfield. Of all the teams working behind to make this project successful, I think designers had a fairly easy job. And why not? The classic 350 is already such a handsome looking motorcycle, ageless, timeless, and that ethos is being carried forward to this bigger sibling. Round LED headlamps with that signature pilot lamp and a hood that's full of chrome. It is metallic everywhere you touch. This chrome edition retails over 3.5 lakh rupees ex-showroom. Front is a 19-inch, rear is a 18-inch. The fuel tank is at 14.7 liters. Seat height is at 800 millimeters, and the main engine section between the double cradle frame is full of metal. What also sticks out from the 350 Classic is this twin exhaust on either sides, making this motorcycle look even more glorious. Well, in terms of features, you get all LED setup. The main instrumentation is that same old school analog meter. The main speed gauge is what takes the main portion of it. There's a small MID, and that displays a lot of information, which includes odometer, trip meter, your gear position. This motorcycle also has tripper, that's optional, and overall fit and finish level on this motorcycle is more than satisfactory. The attention to detail, if you look at closer parts, for example the foot pegs, these handlebars, the levers which are in fact adjustable in nature, everything I think maintains the consistency level. See, ergonomics are a familiar territory. It is more like the 350, however the handlebar feels little more wider. Now what it takes away is the infamous tag of being the heaviest Royal Enfield out there, 243 kilograms. But then it is only 800 millimeters of seat height, which means of my stature, however I put the motorcycle on double stand, I can still flat foot both my legs, and I think that's a great thing. Having said that, you will have a little bit of problem in tight moving crowded spaces. However, once on the move, this bike flows like none other. With more than half a dozen 650s from Royal Enfield, it might be difficult for you to make a choice. But then when it comes with a classic tag, everything becomes much more simpler to have that decision making factor. Now right in the middle is that tried and tested 648cc parallel twin, and this one makes same amount of power and torque. It's mated to a 6-speed gearbox, gets a slip and assist clutch, and that's it about hardware. It is that raw feeling of riding this motorcycle as if you are in symphony. And today whatever I rode on these twisties, this motorcycle flows seamlessly, something that we have experienced with the 350. The handling on curves and these winding roads were excellent. I enjoyed my time out, but then the real test of this motorcycle will be in the cities, where bumper to bumper traffic will crop a lot of issues. The heating will be something that you have to take care of, and as we have seen the classic 350, it is one of the hugely accepted motorcycle because it could do a lot of things all at once. Will this motorcycle be able to do that or not? Well, time will tell, and we can answer that in detail as we ride in our real life situation. Now the Fuel tank is little short of 15 liters, and in real life you expect mileage to be around 20 to 22 kilometers to a liter, which means you have a cruising range of roughly 300 kilometers on single tank. I think that's fairly decent. That goes along with other Royal Enfield 650cc motorcycles. But then the main character of the engine is again that extreme amount of power right from the word get go. Even slight twist of throttle, you have that torque surge, and that remains throughout the rev band. You can leisurely cruise, speeds of 80, 100, 120 come in a whisker, and even cruising at triple digits is quite a breeze for this motorcycle. But then you really don't want to rev it hard because vibrations tend to kick in. For example, when I was cruising at 4th gear 120, I could feel a little bit of buzz on the handlebars, foot pegs, and especially on the seat. Now this is how the classic 650 sounds when you twist the throttle, and I feel this is slightly mellow for classic standard, but then I think customization is the key. If you are buying this motorcycle, there is plenty of mod. You can go to Royal Enfield or you can access them aftermarket. Plenty of equipment are shared with a shotgun, be it the main frame, subframe, swing arm. Obviously the tire size are different. This one rides on 19 and 18, and there lies a similarity between how the classic 650 rides and how the Meteor is on the road. Both the motorcycles are lovely to flow in open straights and curves. Both the motorcycles have quite a long wheelbase. The Super Meteor's wheelbase is at 1500 millimeters, whereas this one is almost close, spanning at 1475 millimeter. And I think it might be a little difficult for you in day-to-day traffic, have good build to ride this motorcycle on a daily basis. Now, also a major difference between the shotgun and the classic 650 is the suspension setup. Both have 43 mm front suspension, but this one rides on telescopic, whereas the shotgun gets upside down. And I think it's not a big problem for classic 650. What might be problem for you is the suspension stiffness. On our roads where it can go really bad, you might feel that on your back and joints. However, you have 120 millimeter travel in the front and 90 millimeter travel at the rear. But I think this one, with overall weight, the kind of suspension setup, it might just feel a little too stiff for you. The ground clearance is just over 155 millimeter, and today I face no difficulty gliding over speed breakers. However, tall road imperfections might scrape the underbelly. I'll be honest, I had a fair bit of apprehension before I rode the motorcycle, and that was in the department of braking. 243 kilos curb, 2 riders on this motorcycle, that mounts to almost 400 kilos on the move. But then, whatever I rode today, these brakes are sharp and they inspire a lot of confidence. Now, starting at 3,37,000 rupees ex showroom, this one does look like a proper classic, but feels more like a Super Meteor. And see, that's not a bad thing. It's fast but not lightning quick. It's heavy but manageable. But overall, the standards, the quality is really up there. I'm happy to report I had a very good time with the classic 650 today.
Now we all know that Range Rovers are special, but the car that you see here with me, that's extra special. Why? Because for the first time, Range Rovers are being manufactured outside of the UK in India. Yes, and the benefits are evident too, because this now has an asking price of 2.6 crore rupees, which is a benefit of 56 lakh rupees over the CBU model without any compromise on luxury. So let's begin our review of the Made in India Range Rover.
So not much changes in terms of design. The Range Rover stays the same as before, but there is no mistaking its big, bold presence. Its trademark boxy stance along with flush-fitted door handles look as iconic as before. Range Rover is the other name for elegance, and there's no dearth of class and luxury when you look at the SUV from the outside. The road presence of the Range Rover Autobiography is something else.
If you want to drive the Range Rover, well, you won't be falling short of comfort in the driver's seat as well. Let me show you why. So we'll just go here to the settings and we'll go to all. We'll go to seats, front. So this is the driver's seat. We'll choose and we'll just start. So you have 5 types of massage functions: wave, pulse, pulse duo, combination and hot stones. And you have 5 directions as well if you want to control the AC. So you have ventilated and heated seats right here. And apart from that, you have a variety of cubby holes. So you have a cubby hole here, a wireless charger right there. You have 2 cup holders here, and you also have this storage space right here, which is cooled. The cabin itself is quite practical as well. Alright, so this is the boss seat of the Range Rover Autobiography, and well, the moment you climb in, and I say climb in because of course the car is quite tall and you literally have to climb in. There is an access mode available for sure, but even then it's an effort. Ingress egress is not that great, but the moment you sit at the rear in the boss seat of the Range Rover, well, the first thing that you feel is how plush and comfortable the seating is, because the materials, they feel so premium. The entire cabin feels very, very airy, and there's a lot of natural light coming in. That's really nice. And if you want to cut out all of that, then what you can also do is just put these electric blinds up for your privacy, right? And apart from that, there's a entertainment package here, a screen here. So this is not connected right now. And if you want to close the sunroof from the rear seat, that is possible too. All you have to do is press a button, and there you go. Quite a nice feature to have. So if you want to rest your arm or have a cup of coffee, all you need to do is this. So the armrest will come down electrically, and yes, it is slow, it takes a bit of time, but then it's okay. I'm not complaining. So you have this nice tablet here. You can control the massage function, the heating of the seats, the ambient lighting, and the blinds as well. What's also very interesting is this feature. So there's this coffee mug symbol here. You press this, and electrically you have your cup holders coming out, right? Quite a nice feature to have. So you have 2 cup holders here. 3 will be a tight fit here because the passenger sitting in the middle be touch uncomfortable, because you have this protruding as well, right? And if you want to increase the recline of the seat, that option is there as well. So this is the full recline, quite comfortable.
The model that we are testing gets the 3-liter petrol engine, which makes 392 horses at 5500 rpm, along with peak torque output of 550 Newton meters, which comes in from 2500 rpm to 4500 rpm. The engine is paired to an 8-speed automatic gearbox, and while the numbers may not seem to be much on paper, on the road it translates to solid performance.
Alright, so most owners of a Range Rover will prefer to be seated at the rear, but if you want to drive this behemoth of a luxury SUV by yourself, well, then you won't be disappointed, because the driving dynamics of the Range Rover Autobiography are quite sorted. So to begin with, the engine, it is an absolute torque monster. I mean, it will deliver power and torque in the most linear and most graceful manner. And if you want to pull along a few cars, well, the Range Rover can do that as well, because the amount of torque that this engine has is just mental. So I remember driving the CBO model of the Range Rover when it was launched a couple of years ago, and while driving, the one thing that struck me was the fact that the suspension was slightly stiffer, not what you would expect of a Range Rover. But on this made in India model, I'm happy to say that the suspension is absolutely phenomenal, because it just irons out all the bumps and undulations. The small ones, I mean, you won't even know that they exist on the road. For the bigger ones, well, there will be a bit of bobbing and weaving, but even then the car has a very measured response to all the big undulations, and it will still keep all the occupants cocooned in comfort. So talking about the handling of the Range Rover, well, of course it is not as sharp as a sports car, but it is no slouch either, because if you want to hustle it through traffic, the car is up for it. And if you show it a set of corners, be prepared to laugh and giggle when you feel the body roll, because there's quite a bit of it. But that's how these SUVs are, and well, it only adds to the character. And if we were to talk about the proportions of the car, well, it's absolutely mammoth, and you have to be mindful of the fact that this car takes up a lot of real estate on the road. So you have to be careful of that. And if you're driving on wide roads, then it's not a problem, of course. But if you're driving on tight traffic laden roads, then yes, it is going to be a handful.
The fact that something like a Range Rover is now being manufactured in India and is the only location outside of UK to do so says a lot about the demand of such cars in the country and the manufacturing prowess as well. At 2.6 crore rupees, there is a significant difference in the price to the tune of 56 lakh rupees. And in typical Range Rover style, there are a variety of customization options.
The Made in India Range Rover Autobiography seamlessly blends British heritage and Indian craftsmanship. It is catering to those who prioritize comfort, luxury and exclusivity over outright sportiness or affordability. Yes, there is a 56 lakh rupees price drop, but the Range Rover continues to be a significant investment.
आज के शो में फिलहाल इतना ही, लेकिन आप हमारे YouTube चैनल NDTV ऑटो को सब्सक्राइब करना मत भूलिएगा, जहां पर हम बहुत सारा ऑटो रिलेटेड कंटेंट लेकर आते हैं। आप अपने फेवरेट सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म पर भी हमें फॉलो कर सकते हैं। अगले हफ्ते फिर मुलाकात होगी, तब तक के लिए बाय बाय।